Hello, my name is Casey Shreve, and I'm a game design student at Johnson County Community College. Today I would like to talk to you about a prototype that I made as a design final project for Game Design 1. Our final project was based on a set of rules called Game Design Dogma. The Game Design Dogma was a 2001 challenge to game designers to create games that are considered pure video games, to help rid the industry pipeline of gimmicky and, I don't know, poor quality games. The rules come from a document called Dogma 2001. I believe it was made by a game designer named Ernest Adams. The rules are pretty tough. The first rule is the design document shall contain no reference to any object which is installed inside the outer case of the target machine. Basically specifying things like monitors, controllers, etc., etc. The use of hardware 3D acceleration of any sort is forbidden. That is a rule that we had to ignore because all computers of today's age come with a GPU, graphics processing software or hardware, primarily a graphics card. It is very hard not to have a graphics card. Only the following input devices are allowed. On consoles, controllers will ship with it. On computers, either a 2-axis joystick, or a D-pad with 2 buttons, or a standard PC keyboard, and a 2-button mouse. There shall be no knights, elves, dwarves, or dragons, as well as a huge list of things that may not appear in the game. Most of them are classic European monsters, like spies, vampires, robots, that kind of thing. The following types of games are prohibited: first-person shooters, side-scrollers, any action game with special attacks. All cinematics, cutscenes, and non-interactive movies are forbidden. Violence is strictly limited to the disappearance or immobilization of destroyed units. There may be victory and defeat, and my side, their side, but there may not be good and evil. If a game is representational rather than abstract, it may contain no conceptual non sequiturs, like medical kits may not be hidden inside oil tanks. If a game is representational rather than abstract, the color black may not be used to depict any man-made object except for ink, nor any dangerous, fictitious, non-human creatures. So to avoid rules 9 and 10, I made an abstract game where everything is not representational other than what it is. So I titled my game Balls because you play as spheres. These spheres roll around, and you basically follow the arrows as they light up and tell you where to go. You control all spheres at the same time, always at the same time. So as the arrows tell you to go different places, your main goal is to just follow the arrows into the last little part here. And to be completely frank, the whole game is put the ball in the cup. A very, very, very ancient game. Just now digital, and with portals, and bounciness, and rolling about. I did violate the Dogma rules slightly. I did have expressive particle effects in my game, but that's simply so you can keep track of your moving objects. I'm referencing here the rendered trails that trail behind the moving objects as they move about, the yellow lines. Colors in the game are only representational to what they are. Pink is the moving arrows. Green are the objects that you accidentally die if you hit, which disappear your objects. Purple is the bounce mechanic. White is warp. Things that went right with this game, the rolling mechanic worked perfectly. I used a torque system that would allow you to go up inclines, like so, with the top bar, the top ball, and I also used a bounce mechanic that shot you upwards. Things that went wrong, it's pretty confusing without a full explanation of what everything is, and there's a lot going on at any given time. Like, even with this screen right now, I have two characters, one at the very top of the screen and one at the very bottom of the screen. You're pretty much forced to choose which ones you want to follow and which ones you just give up on. Bounce. Warp. Something that could be done better, UI is definitely something that needs to be improved on. Better channels of communication to tell the player exactly what's going on when, directions, speed, all of these things could be done a lot better. Victory condition, you really don't know that the whole goal of the game is to put the balls in the cup. Being able to tell that directly to the player is something that needs to be done. This is my attempt at following the Dogma rules. I really think I got most, if not all of them, pretty well with this abstract, non-representational game. As you can see, there are no elves, knights, or other medieval anything in this game. It's not a first-person shooter. It's not really even a platformer, as it's more of a bounce puzzle, where it's just bouncing and rolling, bouncing and rolling. Things that went wrong, I spent a lot of time coming up with a game concept. The Dogma challenge is so limiting in scope that it is really hard to follow. Especially with its long list of contraband, specifically characters. Because you can make a game that has those characters, but taken in very, very different lights. Like, say you wanted a Frankenstein monster, but maybe it's a drag queen. That's completely out of the norm of what usually Frankenstein monster type games do. You can have vampires. You can do, like, a whole bunch of usually overdone huge tropes, but take them in new directions. Like zombies. What if zombies were the good guys? I mean, just whatever. But I do definitely understand the Dogma challenge and why it's there. It's there because, especially in the 2000s, there were a lot of really gimmicky controllers that were made for games, especially when the Wii came out, and for the regular Xbox and stuff, PlayStation 1 especially. There's just a lot of junk. I mean, even today, there's a lot of shovelware. And figuring out ways to avoid that is really important, especially to keep the industry new, vibrant, and ever-growing. So that's pretty much it for this final project for Game Design 1 at Johnson County Community College. Once again, my name is Casey Shreve. And yeah, if you would like to play or see any of my other prototypes, they will be on my itch.io repository, which will be linked below. Feel free to play, subscribe, follow, like, comment, whatever. Anything you desire. And thank you for watching. Have a good one.